With me now on the program, two men who also have had very little sleep, but appreciate your appearance this morning. Liberal MP Josh Frydenberg, Labor MP Ed Husic.
Hey, Kieran.
I've put that caveat at the start in case any of us are gibbering or,
falling asleep.
Falling asleep, that's
This
right.
has been the longest morning, hasn't it?
Let's get on to it. The deal done with the Greens. Why secret, Ed? Why doesn't the government give us the detail? It seems a bit odd.
Look, in a government or in a parliament, the way it's set up, you're negotiating across a range of different parties and independents, and you don't. This stuff has to be sorted out, obviously, in terms of various policy positions, and it gets worked out. The big thing out of what's occurred in the last 24 hours is that we've ensured that the wealth that's currently underground will be shared above ground in a good way. 2.7 million businesses getting $6,500 as a asset tax write-off. The changes to superannuation that will help, particularly in terms of low-income households who get that super kick. I think this will be an enormous benefit to the country, and will ensure that we can spread the benefits evenly.
Can we expect the detail, do you think, over the next few days? Obviously, they've said before the mid-year economic forecast, but it just seems a bit odd that they've done the deal with the Greens and we don't know how they're saving $20 million.
No, those savings have to come out, and we expect that they'll be released in the next few weeks. I mean, you have to be able to go through that process, and that's what we're doing.
Well, Josh Frydenberg, as Ed said, the big deal here is this second major economic reform after the carbon tax. This has gone through. It's going to be hard to rescind, isn't it, given that the big players in the mining sector, they support it. Most of the electorate backs it as well.
No, they don't support it. They don't want another tax. And let me just talk about the Greens' secret deal. Kieran, it's a timely reminder that Labor may be in government, but the Greens are in power. It doesn't matter if it was the carbon tax or if it's industrial relations or now the mining tax. Bob Brown has got his way. And the mining tax will not only set jobs and investment offshore and increase Australia's sovereign risk profile, but it's also going to build in a structural deficit to our budget. You see, the mining tax is predicted to take in revenue of about $11 billion. But the states have increased their royalties recently for another $3 billion, so that revenue will now be $8 billion. But all these initiatives that Ed is so boastfully, proudly talking about is actually $14 billion worth of initiatives. So there's going to be a $6 billion black hole as a result of this mining tax.
When we talk about structural deficits, we can talk about the coalition's debate about that, your own structural deficit on the super increase. We'll do that a bit later because obviously that's an internal debate within the coalition. But on the broader revenue and the broader argument, there's a two-speed economy, is there not? Why not level that out?
Well, if there's a two-speed economy, we don't want to see the most productive sector in our economy damaged. And this is what it's going to do. And you've had leading miners and investors talk about sending jobs and investment offshore. You see Canada, South Africa, Indonesia, Brazil, these are all countries which are competing with Australia. Australia only has about 12 to 15% of the world's iron ore and coal.
What if they introduce
But they don't. But what if?
There is a real suggestion that a lot of these countries, like
they're also going to introduce a carbon tax, like the government is trying to tell us. You see, the problem is for the government is that Australian businesses are competing with the rest of the world.
But if the other countries, comparable countries, introduce a mining tax, would the coalition then agree to keeping it?
Well, that's a hypothetical. I mean, we're dealing with the facts on the ground at the moment. I mean, take the carbon tax, for example. The government has modelled that the United States and Canada and others will all go down the route of a carbon tax. Well, they haven't.
Okay, can I ask you, is it appropriate, though, to have all of this horse trading? You say you've got the tax through. Obviously the tax has gone through. That's the big focus, but the fact is you've done deals with independents, you've done deals with the Greens, and as Josh says, they've made a lot of mileage out of saying that it's actually the Greens holding the reins of this government, not the Labor Party.
Oh, look, I mean, I know they have to go through their lines, and they've been running that line, through the bulk of the year, been saying that this Parliament wouldn't be functional, 250 bills through with major reforms along the way. But ultimately, any suggestion that a sector that made 92 billion in profit, and where people get the notion that once you extract that resource, it's gone for good, and that there is benefit that can be derived for the rest of the economy, particularly small business, which you would think that these guys would be working to assist us in ensuring that they can get a share of the nation's wealth as well, and to be able to help businesses in neighbourhoods all over the country, and instead they're defending the few in the mining sector instead of looking at the broader economy and the spin-offs that come with having that injection in the economy as well.
Do you feel comfortable with having the revenue whittled down by these commitments to the independents, which amounts to horse trading? It's like earmarking in the US Congress. It's not got nothing to do with the mining tax.
Look, overwhelmingly, the bulk of what we will be able to generate out of the minerals resource rent tax will be spread to the rest of the economy, and fundamentally some of the things that have been raised along the way. And personally, I think in terms of the issues that Tony Windsor's raised, particularly in terms of coal seam gas, I was saying the other day that I was holding about 10 mobile offices in the electorate, and I had people in Western Sydney raising the issue of coal seam gas and their concerns with it. So it's been something we can deal with along the way.
I just say this is a dog's breakfast. The mining tax is a dog's breakfast. Now, they're not my words. They're the words on the front page of the Australian Financial Review today of the Henry Tax Review members who have now seen what the government has produced with the mining tax. See, when the mining tax was first proposed by Kevin Rudd, it was going to apply to over 3,000 companies. Then last year, Julia Gillard said it's going to apply to 300. Today she's saying it's going to apply to 30. And now we've got this deal with the Greens and with the member for Denison, Andrew Wilkie. All of these is designed to get an announcement. It's not going to do anything.
What are you concerned about? Are you concerned about how many companies are
policy?
Are you concerned about 3,000, 30? Everyone knows that you'll never keep that side of politics, the coalition side of politics, happy. They don't have any policy ideas other than using the blunt club of royalties.
Once the billions are flowing in, if the coalition wins the next election, it's hard to envisage that you're going to be in a position to say, OK, we're going to stop BHP, which made BHP Billiton, which made a profit of $22 billion at the last financial year.
We've got a lot of Australian tax, a lot of Australian shareholders, a lot of mums and dads and self-funded retirees who are relying on their dividends from BHP. You see, that's who your super profits tax is going to hurt, as well as the more than 200,000 people who are employed directly in the mining sector.
Gentlemen, we're going to take a break and we'll be right back. Stay with us.